Good morning, gorgeous people who love this scrap. It's Val from Australia. Just thought I'll share with you guys a flower tutorial. I've been meaning to do this one for a long time, and Crystal has requested it before also, but been really busy. I haven't had a chance to, so I do apologize. So that is the flower that we are making today. I have given away most of the other ones that I have made previously, and this was one that I could find that was handy here. And you can't really see the details of the flower as much as the other plain colored ones. This one's just a lovely blue one, which I have glittered and stickled for my Ice Princess mini album that I haven't even attempted to start it yet because I'm really busy at the moment, probably next year. But that's what we are going to make today. And what you will need is any type of fabric that you have in your stash will work fine, but try not to use really thick or heavy ones. The lighter they are, the better they are. Synthetic ones are fine, but just be wary that if you use synthetic ones you will have a lot of frays here. But if you want to achieve a shabby chic look, the frays will give it a very tattered sort of shabby chic look, and it will be beautiful. If you're using satin fabric, you don't need to cut it. You will just make a little snip and then tear the fabric, and then at the ends you will get little curls down at the end, which adds really nice character to the flower also. So I haven't got one here to share with you because I don't have any more, so I will be making more for my collection as well as to give to people as gifts. So for the outside, it's made with 2 layers of flower petals. The outside layer you would need 8 petals folded, and the inside layer you will need 6 petals folded. So you will need a strip of fabric which is just a little bit over 2 inches wide, or 5.5 centimeters, and just cut a long strip of fabric of any pattern that you like. That's 5.5 centimeters and just 2 lines, just 2 lines over 2 inches. So I hope you know what I mean. It's not exactly 2.5. It's just the line before the half. So hope you know what I mean. And just cut a strip long enough. That's probably the whole length of your fabric, and you might need some more also because you need 8 of these squares for the outside petal and 6 of these for the inside petal. So to achieve this square from your strip of fabric, you need to cut a perfect square because you need the corners to make the sharp edges on this flower here to make it look beautiful. So to achieve a square look, all you need to do is fold it to form like a triangle, and then once you snip that, that will form your square. So just make sure that you do cut a straight square. Even if you do happen to not cut a straight square, afterwards when you are forming your petals, do trim it so that it looks nice and neat. So once you fold it in half to form a little square, form a little triangle, as you guys can see there, just cut along the edge here to form your square. Then once you open that up, it becomes a square. So cut 8 of those. I'll do it again. Fold your piece of fabric over to form a triangle, and then carefully sort of crease it also with your fingers so you know exactly where the line is, and then just cut along as nice and as neat as you can, like that, to form the square. You see how it's not very straight? You can trim it, just tap to make it straight. So that's pretty much it. So I'll share with you guys the next step of how to make this rose petal, sorry about my messy desk, I'm trying to be as neat as I can. Crafters desks are never clean. If you have a clean desk, you don't craft as much, or you're a very tidy person and you clean a lot. So let's go with the next step. So we have our squares cut. I don't know how many I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the outside, and you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have enough, which is really good. I don't have to cut some more. So to form the petals of this flower, what you do, the magic trick is fold it back into a triangle like that. I hope you guys can see. Let me try and zoom in. Okay, so what you guys need to do is fold it. You can see your square, fold it into a triangle, like that. Sometimes if you don't cut straight on the side here, you will get an uneven corner like that. You can trim it also. So just snip it with your scissors just to try and get a sharp corner like that. You don't have to, but I just like them to look a bit neater. It just makes the corners look really neat when they're a bit sharp like that. So just trim a little bit off so you get a nice neat triangle like that, as you guys can see, like that. And then what you do is roll this corner, fold this corner over to this little corner here, around about the center of this point here. That's where you'll want it to keep it. So right here is straight parallel to this point up here, and then you will fold this petal over. Try and make it as sharp corner as you can, over like that. And then just give it a little pull. If that's lying a little bit too low down, pull the corners up. So you want to make a really nice sharp point here, and that will form your petal. So once you form the nice petal like that, it's confusing with these in the background, isn't it? So once you form a little petal like that, so what I did was fold it in the triangle. This one goes over this corner. Just make sure that this lines up with the tip here, and then fold the other side over also, like that, to form 3 points. So 1, 2, 3. And in here, that's where you will put your glue, is right in here. So I'll get my glue. Sorry about my yucky glue stick. I've used it a lot and it's the only one I have, so it's got glue all over it. So what you need to do is put a little dab of glue right in here. That's all you really need, a little dab of glue. And then push it down like that to close it off. And that forms one petal, and the front looks like that. Can you guys see? It has 3 points. So what you need to do is continue with that. So I'll show you another one. So fold the petal into a triangle shape. Line it up as straight as you can. Fold this side over. If you have a right side or a wrong side to your fabric, make sure you have the right side on the outside. This fabric doesn't really matter because they both look similar to one another, so it doesn't really matter, but I think this is the right side here. What one did I use? Oh, I made that one the right side too, which is perfect. Okay, so triangle, and then you fold this side over like that. Just make sure the points are straight and you don't lose your triangle up here also. And then fold this corner over again like this. Like that. So that's what you want. You want 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And then again, here's where you put your dab of glue. So just fold that back and hold it in place. And pop your dab of glue right in the center here. Just a little dab. You don't have to put too much, especially if your fabric is sheer. If you're using organza, put the tiniest dab of glue because it will come across the other side when you push it. So just push it till it dries, and then you have another petal. So I'll go ahead and fold all of these petals, and then I'll come back and share with you guys how to assemble the flower. So you see you do get little threads like this. You can just pull it off, or you can just leave it as is because it will give you a really shabby chic look. So you will make 8 of these for the outside layer and 6 of these for the inside layer. I'll be right back to share with you guys. Okay guys, welcome back. So I have gone ahead already and folded all my petals, as you guys can see here, all nicely and folded. So what you would need to do next is use a circle punch if you have one. I don't know what size exactly because I don't have a circle punch. I just randomly cut a piece of paper into some scrap paper into a little circle. You don't want one too big, maybe 1 1/8 of a circle. I'm not sure exactly because I've kind of like seen that size at the shop, and I think that's roughly it. I think that's too big. You don't want it too big. You want it slightly not too small, not too big, just a nice size to form the base for your petals to sit on. So roughly about there, so probably 1 1/8 of an inch, I think. So that one's a little bit smaller, so it doesn't have to be big or small, too big or too small. It just has to be like a nice size, and this one's just slightly bigger than the original one that I had cut there. So it's really up to you what you do use. So My battery's flashing, so let's see how long it will take for me to have it to recharge again. So that's what you will need. And what you need to start off with is just pop a dab of glue. I'll zoom in now. Okay, so here we have our circle. Let me try and move the camera. Here we have our circle. What you need to do is pop a little dab of glue right there in anywhere on the circle where you would like to start your first flower, on your first petal, sorry. And then just grab your petal. You want the triangle piece up. You don't want your triangle piece down. You see how it's on the bottom? You want it on top, like that pointy triangle. And then you just adhere it down. Just eyeball it so it's about, the point is in the center of your punch or your cutout. If you're not sure where the center is, just get a little pen and just eyeball where the center is and just pop a petal right there where the tip meets the center there. And your next layer of petal is going, not next layer, your next petal is going to go slightly towards the inside of this petal here, like this. You don't want it sitting on the side like that because it has a gap in there. You want it to sit slightly, little bit on top of the one that you've already placed down. So where you want to adhere your glue is a little bit on the fabric, on your other petal, and a little bit on the paper. And then you just stick this on top like that, and make sure that it meets the point here also. And that's it. It doesn't matter if the glue is showing down here because you're going to cover it up with other layers of petal. So a little bit on frame, a little bit on here on the fabric, and a little bit on the piece of paper. And then you will layer your petal slightly on top of your flower, on your other petal. A bit silly of me to repeat what I've just said. So there, and a little bit here. Make sure you grab your petal in the right place, like that. Even if you do get a little bit glue on this side, it doesn't matter also, because you're going to be layering with the next layer of petals. But with your next layer of petals, you have to be more careful not to leave too much. Sorry guys, my battery died, so I had to recharge and start again. So as I was saying, I was on the step where I was teaching you guys how to layer the petals on top of one another. So we've done half of it, so there's 4 petals, and you've got the other half to go, which you have another 4 petals to go. So as we did before, a little bit of glue where the petal is, and a little bit of glue on the cardstock. You can actually use felt also instead of cardstock. I just had cardstock handy, so I'll just use the cardstock. But I probably would prefer to use felt because it's more manageable, and as you push down, these will actually curl up if you use felt backing. So we'll go ahead and finish the rest of it, and guess what, my glue is finished. So I just have to grab another glue stick. It's one thing after the other that's finished, eh? I use heaps and heaps and heaps of hot glue, so is it bad for the environment? I don't know. So I'll go ahead and finish the rest of it off. We have number 3 petal, and then we have number 4. That completes our bottom layer, and as you can see, it forms a beautiful, beautiful first layer of petals. And then as the glue dries, you can push it down with your finger, and you see how these all curled up. These ones I did prior to my battery running out, and I didn't push them down, so they're a little bit flat. But as you push them down like this, your felt ones probably curl up more, and your paper one will curl up also because you're pushing against the back of it, and it just gives it a dimensional look, as you guys can see there. So that's the first layer. And then with our second layer, you can just adhere it anywhere you like. You can start it anywhere, so just dab of glue, your petal goes in like that. Doesn't matter, you can start it anywhere. And then a little dab of glue again in the center here, and then just stack it slightly on top again. Not as much as you would the other one, just slightly, next to the petal, not all the way completely covering the side of it, just right next to it, because you won't get a gap now because you've got fabrics underneath it. Right there, we've got 3 more petals. Two more. So just a dab of glue and then pop your petal on. A dab of glue and then your petal on. So we've got one last one to put right there. Yeah, so these ones you don't need to cover this particular part here like you would the other one. It just fits in perfectly, and you can push down on it like that. It doesn't matter if you've got the gap in here because you've got the fabric underneath, so you won't see much of the gap anyways. You've got the fabric underneath to cover it, so just fix it all up and then you have it. Is your beautiful flower. These ones are not as fluffy as the satin ones because the fabric is more of a cotton base, so it sits flat. But if you use fabrics like satin, they will have more bounce in them and they will puff up a little bit more. But if you want to puff it up, you can just go around like this with your fingers, and as you can see there, it's really dimensional and fluffy. And because we've got the this is partially cotton and partially synthetic, so it has a bit of frays there, and the frays are beautiful. It just makes it so tattered, as you can see there. Isn't it gorgeous? And what you need to do last is just add a beautiful pearl center in the center there. Add a bit of glue, and I've already gone ahead and made a pearl center with a buckle, one of those buckles, and just a flat back pearl in the middle. This one's a 12mm one, so it's slightly larger. Sorry, I keep dropping it there. It's slightly larger than a 10mm one. 10mm one will just sit in there, but it's actually a little bit small for me. I prefer to use the 12mm flat back pearls in the center. And then you have it. Beautiful. Isn't it gorgeous? It's so simple to make, and it comes out such a treat. Imagine that on a I don't know, the zoom's not working that great. Hold on. Is that any better whatsoever? It's the daylight, the daylight or the morning light is just beautiful here today. So as you guys can see there, it's so absolutely gorgeous. So imagine that on a brooch, a pin brooch, a cushion, a baby's hairpin, hairband, anything, corsage. It's just beautiful. And I have gone ahead and made other beautiful matching coordinating flowers also, and look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. Let me zoom out.